Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I welcome both you and your ears to an episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. In case you're wondering who Angie is, I'm Angie, and I'm super stoked to spend some time sharing with y'all some of my experiences and thoughts on living, loving, music, and space travel, or spiritual experiences as I often refer to as space travel. A rather broad spectrum, right? Well, my hope is to always share something that resonates with, intrigues, excites, or perhaps inspires you. On that note, I invite you to sit back, buckle up, and take a little trip out into the cosmos with me. Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I'm coming to you with episode number 50 of my podcast, Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. And this is a music-themed episode. I love music, as anyone who knows me or is getting to know me knows. This episode itself I'm calling it 3 Days of Panic on the Rocks. I'm finally ready to unpack my fantastic experience of getting to see Widespread Panic 3 nights at Red Rocks. I recently took a trip to Colorado, the place I lived for 27 years. I spent the month of June and the first week of July there. And I was offered the opportunity to take in those 3 days of fantastic fucking music at Red Rocks. I had thought about actually getting tickets prior to my trip to Colorado, but I was kind of wishy-washy with going back and forth of whether I was going to actually go to Colorado or not. And so I missed out on the reasonable ticket price deal, the 3-day ticket pack. So I didn't get tickets. When I got to Colorado, I started to look at my favorite resale website, which is cashortrade.org. And there were lots of tickets being sold, but they were going so fast that I was unable to get one. As the universe seems to be doing recently, it seems to be conspiring in my favor. And that, along with a lot of good mojo from my friends, my fellow music lovers, I had a lot of people in my corner egging me on with this idea. I had the opportunity to go all 3 nights, even though I was working. I had to drive back and forth each night, which was fine. I'll get into that a little bit later. But eventually what took place was a good friend of mine who has seen Panic there for years and years and years, also lived in Colorado for a long time, does not live there anymore. She offered me her tickets. She had decided that she wasn't going to come this year. And although I really missed seeing her, I was really grateful to have the opportunity to make use of her tickets. And so I bought them and decided, game on. I'm now going to Red Rocks for 3 nights. Red Rocks is about an hour and a half from where I was staying in Eagle. It's kind of a hike, but a buddy of mine, my dear friend Alex, let me use his Suburban. And even though I spent a good amount of money on fuel getting back and forth, that's fine, I decided to go. What I want to do in this episode is share for anyone who might not be familiar with the Red Rocks experience, for all of you fellow Panic lovers out there who just kind of want to sit in with me as I decompress and sort of relive a couple fantastic days of music, and maybe inspire somebody to get to see their favorite band wherever it is, and know that don't let anything get in your way. A long drive perhaps might keep us from going somewhere. All the excuses that we put in front of actually living out these acts of self-care, the things that we love to do. I'm going to be your cheerleader in the corner of, first of all, get out there and see all the live music that you can. If you're a music lover, and if you're not, get out there and see some live music, and maybe you'll find you're a born-again music lover. Anywho, as mentioned, my attending was unplanned. Didn't have the tickets, and here I was all of a sudden committing to these 3 nights. It was perfect. My work shifts allowed me to leave early enough to drive down and get there in time. I did hit some traffic along the way. I'll get into that a little bit later because that worked out well even. It all started on Friday, June 23rd, and I actually did not have to work that day. So I hopped into the Suburban, loaded with a little bit of water, as most people know. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, I am on the sober journey. I'm a non-drinker. It's been quite some time that I haven't had a drink. Yeah, hooey, public service for everyone. And it's allowing me to have this incredible life. That being said, I was very capable of driving there and driving home. I hopped into the Suburban, filled it up, and on my way I was. I knew people who were going, but it's really hard to corral a group of people together. It makes me think of living in the mountains and being on the hill regularly. We all had a slogan. I'm sure it started long before I ever said it, but there are no friends on a powder day. And so trying to meet up with people or get together can be very challenging. And I'm sort of a minimalist. I really don't have any problem with going places by myself. And so that's really what I did. I went with the plan that if I bumped into anyone along the way, that would be great. My friend had transferred the tickets via the online option, so I had them already. And along I went, parked in the upper lot. For anyone who's unfamiliar with Red Rocks, there are 3 lots, I think, maybe more than that. But there's definitely the upper lot that allows you to enter from the top of the venue. There is a kind of mid-level lot that you can walk up to the upper entrance of the venue, or you can enter at the lower stairs of the venue. And then there's a third lot, which I was introduced to this time. I had never parked in that lot. I will get to that later as well. But that's kind of a secondary lot, and the shuttle will come and drive you up to that lower entrance. But I parked in the upper lot, sat in the car for a little bit, hung out, listened to some music, and decided I was going to go get in line and prepare to get in there when the gates opened. 5 o'clock, I think they opened. Showtime, 7, something like that. It was hot. I went prepared with water. Colorado weather can change in an instant. So although I admittedly did not prepare myself with every bit of clothing, I will just put it out there for anyone who hasn't been. It had hailed like a couple nights before. They had had a big hailstorm. Some people had gotten hurt. I've been to Red Rocks when it rained all night, and Colorado rain is not warm. It's cold. I've been there when it hailed. Both of them were actually Steely Dan concerts. I'll talk about that in another episode, I think. But I do suggest for anyone to bring some sort of gear, at least a warm shirt, a jacket, perhaps, rain gear, just in case the weather decides to take a turn, because you could have every season. That being said, I was in my shorts and t-shirt, and I got in line and waited for the entry time. And that, to me, is such a wonderful part of a concert as well. People standing in line with you, you really get to know people, even just listening and taking in the topics that are being spoken about. It's really interesting. You get to hear where people are from, how many shows they've been to maybe. You get to hear if there's first-timers. I really enjoy people watching and people listening, not from like a sneaky side, but it's really wonderful just to hear the conversation taking place around you. And I appreciate being in an environment where people are really super jazzed about the music, excited. I am a Widespread Panic fan. I think I saw them, for me, for the first time at Garton's in Vail. That was in the, mid-90s. And I've seen them a fair amount of times at Red Rocks. But I know that there are a lot of people who are bigger fans than I. I did actually get to see them here in Wilmington, and I'm going to go see them again in Wilmington. Met my good friend Bryn there, and it's wonderful. It's been a wonderful musical part of my life. But I don't know all the songs. I don't know everything about the band, and yet I still felt really comfortable waiting in line. Here's a little note for anyone who enters at the top side. I'm just going to say this is something I've always noticed about Red Rocks. So Red Rocks Theater they're Red Rocks. It kind of encompasses both sides of the venue, if that's the right word, but it surrounds both sides of the venue, these big, beautiful Red Rocks. And when you're entering at the top side, as you're standing on the stairs and you look up at the left, it's the left wall, it really looks like this sun goddess is smiling up at the sun. Big smile. It's a spectacular non-accident, and I notice it every time I go. I call her she, and I can just sit there and stare at her sometimes. So for anyone who's going and you're standing at the stairs, the top side of the venue, take note, look up and check her out, because she's there to inspire. She's heard, I'm sure, tons and tons of incredible music while soaking up the beautiful Colorado sun. Eventually we go in, and as mentioned, I was by myself, really ready and willing to be solo and just lose myself in the music, which is one of my favorite things to do. I do like to be with other people at events like this, but the truth is I like being able to lose myself in the music and not necessarily be distracted. I like to think I'm in touch with the universe and very open-minded to what it's offering me, and taking little notes of the things that take place and not missing out on subtle signs that I'm not alone and I'm on this journey through the cosmos. It's wonderful. My birthday was in July 25th, actually, and I turned 52. This concert was on June 23rd. It's just a few days from being a month away from my birthday. I happened to sit, unbeknownst to myself, in row 52. It was pretty cool. Sitting in, quote, lucky number seat 111. There are seats. It's all sort of like stadium seating, one long row, but they are numbered because some concerts do actually have seating locations. This was general admission, which is wonderful, so you could sit wherever you want. But I just happened to sit row 52, seat 111, kind of in the middle of everything. It was a perfect location for me. I sat back, relaxed. The sun was shining down, and I had a few hours before showtime began. As the evening went on, eventually people started to show up. People surrounded me, and that was the beginning, little did I know, of meeting some really wonderful people that I very much look forward to meeting again. This gal's name was Amy. My dear friend who gave me the tickets, her name is Amy. So this new Amy shows up. We end up having a fantastic conversation. Her and her whole group of friends sort of surrounded me. I was in the midst of, the whole stadium is really filled with Panic fans, but these were some serious fans, and I could feel their energy. It was really wonderful to be in the midst of it. Amy and I ended up having a conversation kind of during set break, and she invited me to meet up with them the next day. I'm a little nervous about things like that, meeting new people, even though, I'm 50 years plus old. But I decided the next day, I am flashing forward, but I decided I would meet up with them. We exchanged numbers. Then we finished on with the rest of night one. It was pretty spectacular. Already I was definitely hearing songs that I wanted to hear. I heard Waker, I heard Second Skin, Travelin' Light. They actually closed out the night with Running Down a Dream. Who doesn't like some Tom Petty? It was a pretty fulfilling first night of music. And what's really cool is, at least for me, is the idea of being able to immerse myself in a few nights of something. I haven't been to a festival in a really long time. I'd really like to get to a festival and just be in the element for a few days. It's pretty wonderful. I know lots of people do that. They go camping and immerse themselves in something like that. But I haven't done that. This was great. Even though I knew I had to drive home, that's okay. I was really fine. I got to decompress and listen to the music, check out the stars, and the drive home is pretty wonderful. Got to look out for elk, but I had a fantastic first evening, although they did play one of my favorite songs, which is Climb to Safety. And before it started, I was climbing the stairs upward to get to the restroom. There are only two restrooms, I think, one at the top, one at the bottom. Going upstairs then required me to go down into the gift shop area. There's also a fantastic music museum, history on Red Rock stuff in there. So for anyone who goes, definitely check it out. Went down, used the restroom, was climbing back up to come outside and hear Climb to Safety. I did get in the end of it, which is fine with me. Yeah, first night done. Music, fantastic. Weather, equally fantastic. the universe was conspiring with me. I'm really in this idea of going with the flow and not fighting things and not having expectations. And so I'm really grateful for that first night. It was better than I expected, met some fantastic fellow humans. Onward back to Eagle to get home early enough to get some sleep and head to my diner shift so I could make some money to pay for my tickets. And that was night 1 of Panic on the Rocks. Saturday night. Who doesn't love a Saturday night? Night 2 of a 3-night set. I was excited. Finished my work shift and began to head again down to Red Rocks. The drive was really nice. I was driving from Eagle, starting in the mountains and heading down towards the Front Range. The traffic can definitely be hit or miss. If you are new, definitely give yourself some time generally, or expect that there's a possibility that you're going to be late. There is a fast lane. I think you can buy like a ticket to go into the passenger lane, but I opted to just stay in the regular traffic and found that I left early enough to get there on time. Interesting how the memory works. I can't really remember where I parked the second night. Part of me thinks that maybe I parked in the mid-lot, which will allow you to either walk up to enter through the top venue, or you can walk down the street and enter from the bottom stair section of the venue. Either way, you're going to do some walking. That's another thing for Red Rocks, the preparation of there's definitely a lot of stairs. There's some walking, so be prepared. Here it was night 2. I was definitely excited. I had made the call to my friend, or I texted her. They were like on a party bus. They were, like I said, a bunch of them. She just let me know where they were sitting. And I allowed myself to be nervous with some new people and still make my way into their section. I took a spot. I was definitely a little bit nervous not knowing anybody. I'm also, for the most part, the sober gal, and it's interesting to be in an environment like that. Yes, for any of y'all out there who might be delving into the life of sobriety, perhaps, and aren't sure how to navigate your way through that, I have a big support system. I do some things that definitely help me along. There's also what's called, I think, the gateway, and it's the yellow balloon table. So you can always look for that if you need to kind of check in and ground yourself with some other people. But there are plenty of people at a show who are not imbibing, who are there just for the music. Always remember that you're not alone. That being said, it can feel like you're the only one who's sober, which I always find interesting. I was definitely surrounded by people who were partaking. I was offered some stuff. I'm grateful to know that I enjoy my life the way it is, so I was able to say no. Take your higher power along with you. That was an interesting part of this experience for me as well, to go in as Angie, who was on this kind of crazy trip, visiting Colorado, going back to a place where I had lived for a long time and sort of left on unhappy terms. Come to find out, I was going back to leave differently. That's a previous episode you can listen to where I do talk about that. But this experience of allowing myself to immerse myself in music for a few days and just be Angie, this is the life I'm living. Yeah, I have the opportunity to come here to Red Rocks. Who am I? That's kind of how I felt meeting these new people. This Angie who is kind of on a whole new life train, divorced, about to turn 52, on a vacation, sort of, like living this dream life where I was back in Eagle working. My employers put me back on the schedule. I was like living this working vacation, this fantastic. I was in the midst of this incredible life experience, and I was able to talk to a lot of these new friends. It was really pretty neat. And I feel like the Saturday night show, which if you look at any of the reviews or any of the stuff online about it, everyone's got something to say about shows, but the Saturday night show definitely got a lot of accolades. I'm pretty sure they played, including drums and that kind of stuff, 27 songs, 2 sets. But that's a lot. That is a great that's a great performance, in my opinion. Well worth the money spent. They put on a show that I heard a lot of stuff I felt like resonated with where I was in my life. And I think that's the neat thing about being open to the messages that the universe is perhaps presenting me or trying to talk to me from a different place. They actually played, I'm a big Neil Young fan also, and they did play Walk On in the beginning, and they've played that song quite a bit, but that was a great way to start. They started off with Greta, which I also love, but Walk On, then they went into Wondering, and it was, I kind of feel as I reflect on things now, they were talking to me. Did they put together their set list for Angie? I'm pretty sure not, at least not knowing it. But I'm here to tell the boys of Panic that they put together a set list that was talking to me. Funny enough, the song Can't Get High, I know the message is different, but I can't get high. They put out that for me as well. Picking up the pieces, which is a big deal. I am still sort of picking up the pieces of an old life and kind of putting back together this incredible new life. It was wonderful. Stranger in a Strange Land. I know the lyrics and the message of the song is probably very different from what I'm comparing it to, but it's like this playlist of where I was in my life. I was kind of a stranger in a strange land, seeing Colorado from a very new perspective, going back a very different person. And I love that about music, what it can do, the places it can take me, how it helps me to think about things from a different perspective. Great stuff. I love to hear a good Blue Indian. I got that. Mr. Soul, another little bit of Neil Young. And closing it out with, for goodness sake, some Jimmy Little Wing and Ain't Life Grand. Widespread Panic is one of the jam bands that their music does not, if you're going to compare them to something like the Grateful Dead, don't do that. Don't compare them to Fish. Don't compare them to any of that stuff. But if you are a fan of a band that will help you get lost in the music and take you away for a little bit and bring you back, these are the guys. I mean, what a really spectacular Saturday night. I felt like it didn't stop. It was just a few hours of incredible sounds and sights. I think there might have been some lightning. When you're at Red Rocks, if you sit way up high, you can definitely look over the, I'm sorry, I just hit my microphone. But you can definitely look over all of the Front Range area, Denver and stuff, and the sky is huge. There's usually a lightning show that will take place, which is really pretty cool. I think there was all the Red Rock experience the good stuff that I wanted to take in. Standing in line, walking up the stairs, walking down the stairs, you definitely get your exercise. And I got a great Saturday night. Like I said, well worth the money, and really spending time in a group of new people that made me feel really, really comfortable. I appreciate that. Eventually, the show ended. I headed to my vehicle to head back to the valley so that I could get back in time to get up early for my Sunday shift at the diner. I was living the dream. What a spectacular journey I'm on. Night 2, under the belt. And then came night 3, Sunday night. Any music jam band fans will generally hear never miss a Sunday show. So it's really nice when the band plays that third night. I'm kind of bummed because they're only playing 2 nights here in Wilmington coming up in September, but never miss a Sunday show. Usually they start earlier, maybe 6 o'clock or something like that. So I was a little nervous because Sunday leaving the Eagle Valley and heading towards Red Rocks was kind of nightmarish as far as the drive. It was bumper to bumper. It was painful. I really am working a hard program in relation to trying to let go of my issue with traffic or the weather or whatever it is that is getting in my way of things being the way I want them to be. And this was definitely a difficult road. Not surprising. Everyone's leaving the hills and heading back to the flatland, and there's a lot of traffic. But my GPS actually gave me a different route and put me through the Keystone area and put me on Loveland Pass. 27 years in the Valley, and I had never taken that full end-to-end Loveland Pass. It was spectacular. I'm going to say thanks for the traffic, because that little side journey brought tears to my eyes. Anyone who hasn't been on that part of the road in Colorado, definitely take it. It takes you up to A Basin, and 27 years in Colorado, and I've never been to A Basin. I'm kind of ashamed of that. I've never ridden A Basin, so I'm going to get that in there at some point. But yeah, I got to make that journey slower. I don't know that it got me there any faster, but it kept me from sitting in bumper to bumper traffic, and instead I got to take in these amazing vistas. I mean, there was still snow up there. It was spectacular. I'll say that. I really did. I mean, there's no guardrails. It was kind of crazy. Spooky driving to a certain extent. Really had to slow down, take my time. I was not the only one. There were other people on the journey with me, but it was eye candy in every direction. So that was leading me up to this final night, this Sunday night. I'm really grateful that I'm flashing forward a little bit, but the concert didn't start at 6:00. Thank goodness. Usually never starts on time, but I'm very grateful that it didn't start until about 7, because I was definitely running late, and new experience for Red Rocks. I had to park in the second lot. That is the second entrance, and it puts me all the way in at the bottom in the grassy lot. And then I had to take the shuttle up. Wonderful. I mean, just knowing that you park in the bottom, you don't have to walk up to the top on your own. There's definitely a shuttle service, and that was cool. Plenty of people on the bus with me. And I got up to that lower lot, stood in line for a little while, and finally made it to my seat. And also this third night had opted to meet up with now the people that I'll call friends. I admittedly cannot remember everyone's name. What sticks out to me are Amy and Dominic. And I'm very grateful for them. I mean, it felt familiar, even though I was still very much going on my own, understanding that I didn't have any expectations. I was able to really just be Angie in the midst of all the stuff that was going on around me. Third night of music, I was in the musical mode. Panic had calmed me down over the days. Met up with these good friends, and this time we sat in like row 32. I will say Saturday night we sat in like row 26. It was great. Started out in 52, went down to 26, finished the last night up row 32, pretty much center stage all 3 nights, which was very cool. And this again, if I look at the reviews, I've started to read some of the stuff on nugs.net, people's reviews from the shows. This was definitely a hit night. Fantastic weather to usher in a fantastic night of music. I mean, the Red Rocks experience, it's like it is a whole experience. I did end up seeing the friends that I knew from up in the Eagle Valley. So I was able to hug a few people, talk to a few people I hadn't seen in a long time. It was really wonderful. I think maybe that's when I stopped. I did cruise past the yellow balloon table and got a little bit of candy to fill my pockets with. Again, I don't know all the songs. I didn't know everything, but I knew enough. And I guess they played a song that they hadn't played in 7 years. I think it's called Fishing. I felt like I got in a pretty cool opportunity. I don't think they played it since 2016. So not only to be able to be seeing Widespread Panic, also to be seeing them at Red Rocks, which I know is a bucket lister for a lot of people. So it's not lost on me, this incredible life I'm living, where I've been able to see quite a few concerts at Red Rocks. I've seen quite a few of my favorite bands there. I will call it my home venue to a certain extent, and that's a gift that's not lost on me. And then to be there, immersing myself in the scene a little bit more, getting to be a little bit more familiar with the music of Panic, and getting to hear Fishing. They were also honoring their dear friend Bill Bass, who was a promoter, if I'm saying that correctly, understanding correctly, who passed on in January, I think, beginning of the year. He's transitioned on to the next great adventure, and a lot of people in the music industry will miss him a lot, not just the music industry, but his friends and family. And my understanding is that he was very helpful and a pivotal part of Widespread growing in their journey of really getting into a lot of venues. They sang Keep Me in Your Heart, Warren Zevon's song, I believe, which moved the whole crowd. I could feel it. I could feel the emotion in the collective deal of what was going on in this Red Rocks experience. And what a wonderful journey. I mean, what a wonderful way to finish off the evening. Chilly Water, I'm a fan. They just, they played Pilgrims. I love it. Red Hot Mama. I heard lots and lots of stuff. Big Woolly Mammoth. It was a great 3 nights. I'm definitely looking forward to my 2 nights here in Wilmington, which I think are September 15 and 16. And my buddy Bryn's coming down from New York. I'm excited to get to see him. Saw him there last year. Met him there last year. It's wonderful how music brings the people together. I hope that via this episode, I have inspired perhaps my fellow music lovers to get out there and immerse themselves in a few days of their favorite music, surround themselves with fellow like-minded people, even if it's just the love for that particular band per se. If you're new to music, get out there and see something. I don't say this in a morbid way, but life is short, and I'm not sure, whatever it is that you love doing, I'm not even going to limit it to that. My intention is to inspire you to find yourself surrounded by the people that you enjoy in an environment that is one that fills your soul. Yeah. Get out there and do the thing, whatever the thing is. I have quite a bit of music that's still coming up. I've been able to see quite a bit of music. I just saw Big Something at the Greenfield Lake Amphitheater, and a band called Doom Flamingo. Maybe it's the gal's name, and she is Doom Flamingo. They were fantastic. I got to see a Jerry Garcia cover band. They were great. I'm actually going out to see the Garcia Project, and celebrate Jerry in our local community here and raise some money for the United Way. And I've got Keller Williams coming up, and the Tedeschi Trucks Band, Widespread Panic. And then before I head back to Colorado for the month of October, I've got 2 nights of Government Mule. I'll definitely be putting out an episode on that. I have become a huge, Warren Haynes fan. The band is great. I'm a little late, I think, on my love for them. They used to come to Colorado a lot. I mean, that's just a beauty, I guess, and acceptance of this new life I'm living. When I was married, and I'm not going to beat up on the marriage, my life was so different, and I could do or not do certain things, or I chose to do or not do certain things, and music was really kind of removed from my life, at least seeing music. Now that I'm living with my parents, I'm really getting this opportunity to live a life, a dream life. I'm actually heading back to for the whole 2 weeks, or both weekends of Jazz Fest. That's next year. Lots of music stuff. I did get in 2 nights of Fish, which actually kind of equaled 1 night. Maybe I'll do just a roundabout music episode sometime soon and talk about all the music that I've been taking in. But it's been a pretty wonderful musical year. And thank you, musicians. Thank you for doing what you do and sharing yourselves with us. On that note, it's time for Angie to go to work and make a little money so she can pay some bills and perhaps buy some new concert tickets. Thanks for joining me, as always. It's been a few weeks since I put out an episode. I'll say it's kind of been a little bit of a hiatus, but my intention is to get back into the groove. If there's anything you want to hear, check out my website, www.lifelovemusicandspacetravel.com. Leave me a voice message. Let's build a community and communicate and chat with each other. Check out some of my other episodes. I'm sure there'll be something that resonates with you. And in the meantime, enjoy today. Take note of what the universe has to offer, and perhaps just go with the perspective that it is conspiring with you, not against you. Letting go of the way I'd like things to be, and instead embracing the way they are, has been life-changing. That's it. I love you for listening. I love you for being who y'all are. Here's to next time. Ciao for now. Bye. So we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks so very much for listening. It's now time to reconnect to planet Earth and all that comes with living on the blue ball. I'd love to hear your ideas for future episode topics, along with any and all positive and or constructive feedback. Please feel free to contact me at ashysbadass@gmail.com. Thanks again for spending some time with me and allowing me to share myself with you. Until next time, please be gentle with yourselves, be kind to animals, and do all you can to allow your authentic selves to shine brightly.